Alright, so the next movements are going to be for stabilization, for athletic performance, and also some of the things that we would do in one of my balance and flexibility classes. So we're going to start single leg reaches. We're going to treat it like leg forward to a midpoint, quarter hour, another midpoint, half hour. So that if we were referencing a clock, we're going around the clock. Okay? So we're coming forward, mid, quarter, mid, half, and back around. Keep the leg out nice and wide. Stay on just one foot at a time. Slow, deliberate, pointing to each specific area. Forward, mid, quarter, mid, back. We're going to do this 5 times to each leg. See how that balance starts to get challenged. You can always tap your foot down if you need to, or stop after a couple if anything starts to feel painful or difficult. But if it's just a challenge, try to push through. Let those muscles get really warm, because a lot of the time you'll feel them fatigue a little bit just because they're unworked, and then they'll activate, and they might be recruiting a little better than you might have expected. You can probably get more performance out of these stabilizing muscles than you think you can once they get kicked in the way they're meant to. Alright, now we're going to switch legs again. This time we're going to draw our name. So just use either your initials or your name, nickname, anything like that. It needs to be at least 3 letters that we're tracing, and you're going to do it like in cursive. Again, we're going 5 times. And the reason why, these are unusual movements. I like to do things like this because our natural life is not usually going to have a really predictable, limited range of motion. We're going to have to do all kinds of unusual movements in our daily living, so we want to make sure that that is something that we plug into our workouts. Switch legs, same thing. All about getting that unusual movement with the foot. Leg straight. Five times. Alright, now we're going to go into the next movement, which is going to be just a single leg movement, either picking the opposite foot up, placing it in front, or out to the side. Usually for this one it's going to be the easiest to bring the foot back. This is going to mimic a deadlift. So a standard deadlift, your feet would be about here, and we would keep the back really straight, the legs either slightly bent or either bent about this much or just barely bent for a stiff leg. So instead, we're going to be on one leg. But this movement, just to demonstrate a regular deadlift, might look like this. If we were holding a weight, we would bend down, slide to the shins, and come back up, pushing through the hips. Pressing into the floor with our heels to try and really get our hamstrings kicked into it. So it's almost like we're trying to do a hamstring curl movement to really get the hamstrings and the base of the glutes kicked into it. So this would be a standard deadlift. And if you want to practice a few of these to begin with, just to get used to the normal movement where the back is straight, hips slightly back, hands dragging down the shins, coming back up. We can do 5 of those just to get used to the movement. Good. So that's just in case you had never done a deadlift. Now, we're going to do a crossover movement. This is to help target each aspect of the sides of our lower back. In particular, each side's QL, or quadratus lumborum, and then going down through the entire hip with some good connection stabilizing with the opposite side obliques and abdominal muscles. So we're going to bring one foot up, you're going to come down, same thing about keeping the back straight, and then draw it back up. We're going to switch, we're doing 10 on each side, okay? Coming down, coming back up, switch. Nice and steady. All right, let's go into our next movement, which is going to be prison squats. We call these prison squats because you're going to bring the hands up to the back of the head. We're not pulling on the head. This is just a nice guide, keeping them out of the way. The feet will be just barely apart. We're going to come down into a squat, come up and up. Crossing over, trying to touch your knee to your elbow with a twist in the abdomen, not just moving your elbows, definitely not pulling your head down with it. Come down with a squat. We're doing 15. Last one. All right. Then we're going to go into a similar movement that we did the first time, but we're going to do a single side full extension. Okay? So it's going to be nice full extension on one side. Other side is going to go down towards your leg. Okay? This is similar to the deadlifting we just did, except we're doing the same side. Okay? So this is going to be a balancing exercise. Only do whatever you can do with your limits. So same thing about the roller, the back of a chair, if you want to balance. In the gym, I usually do this with people having a bar, like B-A-R-R-E, having a ballet bar to balance on if they need to. So we're going to have hands almost like spears. One side can either come here. We're basically going to reach down just like we did with the deadlift, so wherever you want your hand to start is fine, but we're going to reach down that shin, okay? So, bending this knee just a hair, coming this way with the knee and the elbow first on one side, bring them together, extend out, then come back in. We're going to come together, out, back in. 5 times. Switch sides. we'll go into some lunging. So this one is going to be a mimic of what we would do with dumbbells. We can really activate muscle even without weight. So I always say for the bicep, to help engage that, we want to curl at the fingertips. So curl the fingertips up, curl the wrists up, curled wrists always with a bicep curl. There are very few exceptions, and they're basically only in bodybuilding. So we're going to curl at the fingertips, curl up towards the fronts of the deltoids, curl up, practicing that movement first for 5. Just in case you might not be familiar with it. Alright, now we're going to do a forward lunge. This may be challenging for people that have knee issues. I am definitely in that category. I do a full range of motion lunge just because I do this kind of movement a lot, but be very careful to ease into these things. Make sure that your legs have enough muscle on them to stabilize these movements. So first, you're going to step forward to a limited range motion, and then sink both knees down, and then come back up. We never want the front knee to go over the toe, so just as far as that range of motion allows you. So practice each shallow lunge if that's where your range of motion is. Also, to protect yourself, using something to stabilize, like the back of a chair, a foam roller, a pole, or something like that is a good idea. So let's start, and we're going to go through 5 lunges on either side on its own. Then we'll do the combination movement. So we're going to go 5 to each side. I'm doing a full range of motion lunge first, but we just demonstrated the short one, so practice the short range motion if that's where your limit is. Just limit your range of motion to your own needs. Otherwise, we're going to create a 90-degree angle with both knees if you're going for the most challenging version. So step forward, not one foot directly in front of another, one foot in front of that side's hip. We want the feet still a little separate, otherwise your balance is going to be way off. Then we sink down, knee over the top of the foot at the most. We never want it going past the toe. That's only useful for like grappling and wrestling and things like that. We don't want to drive the knee forward otherwise. We're coming down, then come back. Come forward with the other leg, sink down, and come back. This is how we do a forward lunge. Alright, so now we're going to do a combination movement. We're going to come forward, we're going to do a forward lunge, and we're going to do a curl, then we'll do up downs 3 times. Then we'll do another curl, and then come back. What this is going to look like: leg forward, curl at the wrist, come here, curl, up and down. Hold, curl, and back. Switch legs. Curl. Curl. Come back. All right, we're going to do 3 of these to either side. Forward. Switch. Curl, and back. 2 more to either side. Switch. Curl. Curl. Forward. Curl. Curl, back, last one. Curl, curl, and back. Now we're doing something very similar. We're going to do a reverse lunge. With the reverse lunge, we balance on one foot, we come back into a lunge. Practice this one first. Just normal. Just to get your good range of motion and get used to where your foot needs to step. I also like to warm up doing the basic movement before doing a really challenging movement. Alright, now we're going to go into the reverse lunge. The upper body movement for this one. We bring the elbows back behind the rib cage. Keep the shoulders back and down. Core drawn in. Nice and neutral. Elbows back. Then we're going to bring the elbows straight. Keep the elbows cocked behind the rib cage. No swinging in the arms. No shoulder movement. Elbows back. Extend. The way that we really help activate the back of the triceps, or the sides of the triceps, is that we come back behind the rib cage, we extend straight back, then we twist this wrist out. So come on back, twist the wrist out. Really try to get the elbows back, and then extend straight back. Really getting that wrist twisted. It's almost like, here's my hand, I'm doing this with my hand in a fist. Going to the side, like I'm trying to touch my pinky to the side of my forearm. Trying to come to the side. That really helps to engage a lot of, also some of the arms, flexors and extensors. Alright, getting the elbows back. We're going to step back, up downs. Well, first we're going to come down, extend straight back, come back, up downs. Extend straight back and forward. Extend back, up downs. Three to either side. Up downs. Sorry guys. Get scrambled. Last one on either side. Step back. Trying to listen for my toddler and my dogs. And any one of the three of them is usually getting into something. Good. Tick-tock lunge. So we're still going forward and back, but we're pairing the movement. We're not going to touch the floor with this moving foot in the middle of the movement. So what it looks like, hands on the hips, we come forward, come down, come up without touching this foot. Step back. Forward without touching. Five times on this leg. Switch legs. And last one. Side lunge. So first, we'll do 5 to either side just to get used to the normal movement. Hands either up like this, on hips. to the side, both feet pointing forward, sink back and down, and back to the middle. Knee should not be coming past the toe on the bent leg. We don't want hips, knee, or foot out of alignment. We want all of these things going straight up and down over each other. Right. So the move we're going to do is a side lunge with a leg lift. Hands up, go to the side, lunge down, lift this leg, come back to the middle. We're just doing this 10 times, so we're already halfway there. Very good,